occasionally bugging where it the desktop screen share specifically freezes. So not the audio, not my camera, not the show my chat, but just the screen share. So if that happens, I'll have to toggle it off and on real quick. So please let me know if you notice it and I don't.
Okay, sure, no problem.
All right. So we're live. Welcome everyone. Also, Toby, I forgot to mention you should be able to stream this to your channel in some way. There's probably some fancy shindig you can do
Really?
with guest star.
Uh,
Am I live? I
also,
am live. We are. Oh, and he's gone. That's unfortunate.
well, my back here now. Sorry.
Oh, are you back?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
Okay, could you mute on the other place? I think it's conflicting, or on one place. All right, yeah.
Is that better?
Yeah, it's better. It's better.
Okay. You were hearing me both on Google Meet and
Yeah,
streaming together?
yeah,
That must have been incredibly annoying.
yeah.
Awesome.
All right,
Hey, Demian.
awesome.
How's it going? I want to give a quick shout out in the chat
Hey.
to Toby Solutions, as that's who is currently on with me. Toby, how you doing?
Hey, hello. Josh. Hello, everyone. I'm Tobiloba, and yeah, doing all right. Thank you, Josh. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm moving your face because my face was overlapping yours and it was scaling odd, and I don't like scaling
Oh,
oddities.
oh.
All my fault. But life is good. I'm excited to have you on because I've been watching. Well, first of all, you're a very friendly, fun, approachable person on the internet, so that makes me happy. But also, I've been watching Million.js get a lot of press, and you've been doing things with Million on top of your other dev
Mm-hmm.
stuff, DevRel. How do you describe yourself,
Mm.
out of curiosity? Like, what role do you embody right now?
On up until this morning, my role was core team advocate at Million and Deborah at Tulia. But now I think my new role would be community engineer at Million
Ooh.
and Deborah at Tulia, because I think I do. Elian, if you know Elian from Astro, he does he describes his role as community engineering, and I've looked at the things that he does, and I compared that with the things that I do, because I don't do one defined thing. I do like several other things. So I think that is the role I'll be adopting from maybe today henceforth or something.
Okay. That's so interesting. Love Elian, by the way. Fan of the person, fan of the project Astro. Elian's been on the
Yeah,
show.
he's really great.
Yeah. I'm curious, how
Yeah.
did you two meet? Did you just like reach out on Twitter?
Oh, the way I met Elian, yeah, the way I met Elian, it was mostly me just reaching out because I sort of like had this tweet one time where I was talking about how I was doing how my work at Million is unpaid and stuff like that. And then Elian commented under my tweets, and it was like his role for Astro was like for 2 years it was unpaid, and but he was speaking at conferences and mostly doing all these several things, and until he got offered a full-time role to work for Astro. And then that was pretty much how we hit it off and started like having conversations in DMs and stuff. So then we did a live stream together, testing Astro. He taught me Astro live, and then we used oh, I have an echo.
I fixed it.
Somebody says I have an echo in the com. Okay. So
Someone's watching
he taught
Spider-Man.
me Astro live, and then
Sorry.
it's my brother. And then we used Astro with Million live, and that was like a couple of weeks back. Yeah.
Okay. That's really interesting. So
Mhm.
it was a Astro project using React, and then you used Million on top of that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That was the way we set it up. It was
That's
very
fascinating.
fun. Yeah.
Does it all work well together? Were there any like weird gotchas you had to get through?
No, not at all, because Million already, like from the start, at least Nigerian Million, we already had like Astro support, so it was just us using it really. We didn't have any weird errors or anything like that.
Awesome. That's what I like to hear.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome. Excited to be here.
Cool.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. So I figured
So,
we could probably
hmm,
wait another couple of minutes before starting formally. Right now, we've
okay.
got two people in chat. Demian, hello, and NSDHSO. I don't know how to pronounce that. If you could give us advice, that would be great. But to both of you and anyone else, thank you for hanging out. If you all have any questions, comments, things to talk about, please let us know. We definitely want to answer your things, and we definitely don't want to go too fast or too
Yeah, of
slow.
course.
Kevin, hello, welcome. Yeah, it's morning. I woke up a solid 30 minutes before this. 10 minutes was a good time talking with Toby, and then 20 minutes was wrestling with OBS audio streams. So that was miserable. But otherwise, it was fine. By the way, what is this thing on the home? Is this other people? Is this like the collaborative cursor shindig? Oh yeah, Toby, I'm screen
Yeah,
sharing.
Million. Oh yeah, well, you're not yet. Oh, it's live blocks. It's called live blocks.
Live blocks. Here, I'll share with our private meeting too. Yeah, so this I've seen this treatment in like one or two homepages around the world. Is this like a thing now? Do people do this? The sharing of the cursors?
Yeah, yeah. It's sort of like a. It was a cute thing that Aiden, according to Aiden, like I'm using Aiden's words now. He said it was cute and then he added it to the million million sites. Yeah, it's called live blogs, like as I've said, and like there are several people in the world right now or in different locations using on the website. So that's why you're seeing other cursors apart from yours. Yours is also appearing on someone else's end as a cursor. I think I was on the site one time and somebody was playing with the cursor with me. Like the person was trying to catch my cursor. So then we so then we spent some time together playing around with each other and stuff.
That's awesome. Now,
Yeah.
if I open it on two, uh, I don't know, two windows, whatever you call them, side by side, why can't
Hmm.
I see my? I want to see my cursor on the other one. It's not showing up though. And I'm seeing there's only
It's the same
one.
computer.
Doesn't work.
It's the same computer. Yeah, it doesn't work that way.
Oh well. Well,
I think it has to be from like separate. Yeah.
I see people have gotten really excited about your 2.6.4 release. Good for them. Cool. Well, it's
Million 3 is actually coming out soon. Million 3.0 is actually coming out soon. It's
ooh,
under the like we're refactoring the compiler and uh 3.0. Oh, it's still the same GitHub, but you see the PR like open if you go to pull requests. Aiden is currently working on it. It's a draft PR. It's 3.0.
that's awesome. Ooh, been working on it
Yeah,
since November. A lot of changes. Oh boy.
yeah, that's
Cool. Well, it's 9:11, which is 1 minute past 9:10. So let's start talking. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this edition of guest starring on Josh's stream. I'm Josh Goldberg. I'm a full-time open source maintainer in the TypeScript ecosystem. With me today is Toby Solutions, Tobiloba from Toby. Where are you streaming in from right now?
Lagos, Nigeria.
Love it. By the way, you recently had a conference over there. You royally the city had a conference that I heard went really well. City.js.
Yeah, it was CityJS Conf Lagos, and it's the CityJS that happens in Nigeria, maybe the Nigerian version, maybe. And yeah, I spoke on a topic. It was building in public and learning in public, but then I wore Million swag there, so it was sort of like me still going to represent Million and stuff.
Awesome.
So yeah, it was really fun
Cool.
last year.
Great. Well, let's hope it happens
Yeah.
again this year. But yeah, who are you and
Yeah, yeah,
what are you doing
definitely.
here? What are you doing on the internet these days?
So what I do, I mostly do dev advocacy stuff, but I'm a software engineer. Let's start with that. I'm a software engineer. I work in a company called Groove where we build streaming products like live streaming products and music streaming products. I use Next.js, TypeScript, and Shard. And yeah, I work on Million and I do dev advocacy stuff there, manage the community, and I'm like a maintainer there and core team member of the project. So uh yeah, also Million recently joined YC, the next squad, so which is crazy. Excited for we have what that entails or the entire thing. And I also work for a company called Tubian. It's a company that does open source stuff like basically helping to build a community around having developers that can 10x their skills with using things like open source and building in public. So it was basically like a thing that just fits into what I already did. So I was like, okay, yeah, sure, I'd love to work with you guys and stuff. So yeah, they have a very nice platform, Tobiloba.com. Yeah, excited to be here.
That's awesome.
Hello,
Uh,
Emma. I see Emma.
hey,
Emma
Emma.
in the comments.
Apparently, I may or may not have an audio lag. Someone please. Okay, thank heavens. Um, I hate streaming, the technical backing side of it, and I love hanging out with people. So it's always a love hate relationship with these. So someone please make noise if there's anything that goes wrong. Oh, thank heavens. Okay. NSDHSO,
All is good.
you've taken 3 months off of my lifespan, but that's okay. Please, thank you for speaking up. But yeah, Toby, how did you get connected with? How did you personally get connected with Million? What's the story there?
The story of how I got connected with Million was it's kind of a very crazy story. So, um, because I was just scrolling through casually one day, I was scrolling through. There's this um extension that is sort of like a news aggregator called Daily Dev. If you know Daily Dev or Francesco, so I was just scrolling through the feed, and then I saw React Virtual DOM. New Virtual DOM makes React up to 70% faster. Obviously, I clicked on it to find out what crazy person did that. So I went to the documentation, and then I found out that okay, they actually have like very nice docs. I quickly spin up a simple application to just test it out to see how I was working, how it works. That I remember then it was a Vite app I created with React just to see how, and then I created a simple counter app to see okay what are the improvements it's making. I checked some performance. I tested it to see what improvements were made in certain places because I used the block function then, which we have for manual mode. And I was fascinated because I was like, wow, this is crazy, and it didn't actually break the application, and I don't see anything crashing or going down the road or something like that. So then I reached out to the community. I saw they had a Discord, and it was barely like 20 people. So I joined in. I reached out to Aiden in DMs, um, and then we basically set up a coffee chat, and that was it. And then in the conversation in the coffee chat, he told me about them needing community help and DevRel stuff, and I was like, sure, I'd love to volunteer to work as that on the project because I already do a lot of stuff around that stuff. So that's like my field of specialty. So then that was pretty much how I joined Million.
Wow, that's great. This is a common theme with you of you see something you think is cool, you reach out, and then you start talking, and now you're involved in some way. It's a good superpower to have. Also, I
Yeah,
want to shout
thank
out.
you.
Sorry, I want to shout out Learner in the chat. Hi, Learner. Uh, yeah. So
Hey, Lena.
let's dig in. So let's say that I've never used Million. I Josh want to get started with it. I have a suspicion based off the shiny purple treatments on this homepage, but clue me in. What should I do to get started with Million.js?
To get started with Million.js, you essentially need to have a React application or a Next application that you're working on, and maybe in one way or the other, you feel like there are some improvements that you want to make, performance improvements that is because easy. You just basically go to let me not even bore you with details. You basically just go to uh maybe the documentation or you try the command npx million at latest. We have a CLI that basically just bootstraps everything that you need with Million in automatic mode. So Million has both manual mode and automatic mode. And with automatic mode, all the configurations or the writing of the block function that you might need to do, Million already handles that for you automatically at runtime. So you don't need to because Million has some rules as well, and the automatic mode already factors in those rules and makes the necessary optimizations for you um, based off of what we have at Million. And what else was I going to say? You can control how much optimization you want with the automatic mode. The lower the value, there's a value we call threshold. The lower that threshold, the more optimizations you get, the higher, obviously, the lesser optimizations. So yeah, I think that's how you get started with Million.
That's great. I did that while you were talking.
Yeah.
Everything you just described was doable on the command line and then just with a manually looking at the file while you were
Yeah.
describing it. That's wild. That's a really good setup experience. Props to the team, to you.
Yeah, exactly. It's very nice DX. That's one of the things that I always push for within the team, and I'm very glad that Aiden is on the same page as I am because I love good DX. If something doesn't stress me out, basically just makes my life easier.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. We have enough crap to deal with as developers. Um, Yes. So, question from the chat, and y'all, please keep me in good practice here. If someone asks a question, I'll try to say it out loud. From Demian, hello again. Are there any downsides in Million? Quote, I mean, 70% faster. Can that be done with or without drawbacks?
So yeah, Million, as we always talk about, should not be used as a silver bullet, and it does have some limitations that we are currently working on to overcome. Some of them we've actually done work in the past year to get over most of the limitations. But if you go to the documentation and you go to rules of blocks, I can maybe share the link in the chat. You go to rules of blocks, you see some of the drawbacks that it has. I mean, if you know Solid or something, you probably know there are some things with like like deterministic returns and stuff like that. So that's one of the like drawbacks. But and which is why I said before, yeah, Million as well is mostly good with like if you have a website that has static contents with few dynamic contents, you can basically like easily go to, because Million has an algorithm that passes your entire tree and then speeds up the diffing, and based off of that you can make the necessary optimizations. But our automatic mode, like I've said before, has all these things already factored in, so you don't need to worry about like having to something break or something. That automatically just like says, okay, these are the optimizations you need, and I've done them for you. And then it shows you in your terminal that this has been optimized by this percentage, this has been optimized by this percentage, and stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking through. Whoa. I think this is an existing complaint. Oh yeah, that's from one of the extensions. I'm looking through the rules. Some of them are pretty reasonable. Like I can understand that if you have like a shared block, it makes sense to extract it out. But some of these,
Mhm.
like not being able to use UI component libraries, that's kind of a strict restriction. Like, can we go? Like, why can't I use like I don't know Material UI or Chakra UI here?
Yeah, so very good question too, by the way, because one of the things that the Million has as far like making the optimizations is that it knows how to directly like target DOM elements, and based off of the DOM elements that it sees, you can make the necessary like traversals and easily pass and make like, okay, this should be, because the Million algorithm is kind of like and crazy, because it basically passes your tree and then it finds a parts of your DOM that are likely to change, and those parts of your DOM are parts that maybe states are controlling, which is why I said initially that it's mostly good like pages where you have um not too many moving parts and stuff, or for example your admin dashboards, stock exchange websites and stuff. But now in the case of UI component libraries, most of these components, for example, already have like so many layers and layering and stuff like that. And there might be things like deterministic returns in some bundled in some of these components, which in one way or the other, a million doesn't actually break your your setup if you have it there and then you are using it to wrap using maybe a block to wrap a component that has this. It just basically defaults it back to the React algorithm, and then it doesn't stress you out. But we just do not advise it, because it might be it's unnecessary to start with, because you're not really the block is not really going to be doing anything in that regard. And secondly, it's just makes your code cloggy or something, I guess. But yeah, it's one of the rules, and like I've said several times, just use automatic mode.
Got it. Cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Um, yeah, I'm trying to go through in my head like who would really have slow apps that Million can benefit, and one of those use cases I think would be large enterprises where they haven't had the
Yeah.
ability to focus on their apps because they have a bajillion apps and not enough devs. Um, so
Yeah.
those are also the types of users who tend to use things like Material and Chakra as shortcuts to not have to, you know, do all that themselves. So you've kind of got this
Yeah.
unfortunate confluence there where internal dashboards, I imagine, probably you only get some
Yeah.
benefit from being able to use Million with those component libraries.
Yeah. And if you go to the showcase, you can see some of the projects that currently use Million in production, and uh, many of them and stuff like that. I use Million in prod, and yeah.
Awesome. So I've got one last
Yeah.
question as I'm going through these for you before. Ooh, Type Here uses you. I like Type Here. Before we dive into the million source code, I know you have Showcase,
Mm-hmm.
which is awesome. It's oh my god, Windows 11 web. That's a whole thing. Do you have any concrete kind of metrics numbers like XYZ website gained 123% type stuff?
Um, yeah, at some like that might be based off of several. We don't essentially have our own metrics, but like I said before, Million basically goes like bottom up because the way it makes its optimizations is very granular. So it goes to certain components and then it makes those optimizations per component. But now, like overall metrics as to how much optimizations is that made to your application, maybe could be determined from third-party tools like maybe Lighthouse, like which is a very good example as to how you can see changes um perf improvements or something like that. So but as per like us giving you like a metric, then essentially we don't really have that at the moment to tell you this is the total optimizations that we made to your entire application. No, we have like a way to tell you though that this component has been optimized by this percentage, and the percentage is calculated based on how much like other metrics are obviously first context with paints and all those things like that. So I see you playing Minesweeper. That's why I
Sorry.
was laughing.
I am listening, I promise.
And then yeah, then I understand. Like I that game just brings back so many memories. I remember I used to play it like a lot on my XP then.
Oh,
So
love it.
yeah, like I said, like making those optimizations like in a granular way and bit by bit and stuff. So eventually make up the overall perf improvements and stuff like
Got it.
that. So yeah.
Cool. Yeah, this happens all the time when someone's talking and I am listening, and part of my listening approach is to is to distract the dumb part of my brain with something else. But that makes a lot of sense. I think one of the
Yeah.
unfortunate things about the needs that Million.js solves, not Million, but the needs, is that they're, I
Hmm.
think, a lot harder to measure. Like, yeah, if you have something that improves the startup performance of your app, boom, right there, first contentful paint or LCP or whatever, that you can measure. But
Hmm.
then resizing the window or clicking a button and the table sorting differently, that's hard to measure. So I can definitely empathize with that
Yeah.
being harder to get to.
Yeah. Yeah, and then one of the reasons why we created Alien in short, we created Million was for example, low end devices at times could have issues loading certain applications, and this still sort of ties into some of the perf improvements and accessibility. Because if you think about it, you don't want your applications to only be used by Mac users and to be used by maybe people with 8 gig RAM of memory and stuff like that. Obviously, you want your applications to be able to run cross browser regardless of devices, low end devices, top end devices. So which is one of the reasons why Million has been doing so many things apart from us making a virtual DOM that makes those optimizations. We are also delving into things like having Million AI, where in this case we are not exactly forcing you to use Million as the package. We are just helping you to be able to figure out from your own code that you've written how you can write more performant and more efficient React code and stuff like that. That's still under work still, the Million AI. And we currently have a wait list with over 700 people signed up and stuff like that. Yeah.
Cool. Well, that sounds great. Before we get sucked
Yeah.
into that, since we've already been here for 15 minutes, I'm gonna say let's dive into the million source. Does that sound good to you?
Yeah, it does.
Awesome.
Although this might be the part where we figure out things together because Million Source could have never actually written code in Million Source.
Awesome.
Because support the amazing Million team. Thank you, Leonard. Really appreciate it.
Cool. All right. So code. So what I just did on my terminal, someone shout at me if it's not zoomed in enough, is I used the GitHub CLI to fork it onto my personal uh, user
Yeah,
on
okay.
GitHub and then cloned it. So I see you have a PNPM lock file. Love PNPM. Oh my god. Toby, have you
Yeah,
have you played with
yeah.
this much yet?
Yes.
I use PNPM for all my projects now. So for those who haven't touched it before, it's like NPM, but oh god. For starters, for some reason my current version of Node and current version of PNPM, one or both of those is out of date, so I have to switch to Node 18.
Yeah.
But otherwise,
Oh, okay.
it's like a
Mm.
faster NPM. All the packages are symlinked, so if you have 50 different projects that use the same version of React, you only have one installation of React.
Yeah.
Ugh, so nice.
Yeah. I like the monorepo support though. It's one of the reasons why I exactly like, and the speed though. Crazy thing.
I actually haven't played with their monorepo support. How does that work for them for PNPM?
Or you basically like can have several projects, and then you have like a root PM, a root packet or JSON where you can like define, okay, this is this route, this folder holds this folder holds this project, and several other things like that. And then you can use the PMPM, and then you basically generate a PMPM workspace, or you write it the YAML file for you where you can use to manage the projects and the routings and everything. And if you install a project or you clone a project, you can just do PMPM install, and then it installs all the dependencies for every project within the directory and stuff like that.
Cool. That's awesome. So let's say that I have,
Yeah,
I
it
don't
is.
know, React slash package JSON. So packages slash React slash package JSON. And it has,
Mm-hmm.
no dependencies and other things. But then we have types, which is its own package. Um, also has no dependencies. Do any of these packages have a dependency on each other? Are they all independent? One of these, aha! Wait. None of these packages that I found depend on each other. What is happening? Normally, so like I've used workspaces in like Yarn and others, and in general,
Oh, okay.
some of them will depend on
Oh,
each
okay.
other, but none of these actually seem to depend on each other.
Mm.
That's interesting.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh.
it is crazy.
Anyway, so I've
Mm-hmm.
installed PNPN, or I've installed packages with PNPM. I'm gonna try to
Yeah,
run builds naively. So it looks like things are running. So normally in a repo there'll be like a README, some kind of development or contributing guide, some such. I see that there is one
yeah,
here,
yeah.
so that's awesome. And
There is.
oh, I love this. This is so nice. There's like a whole. I love it when projects do this. There's a whole contributing guide that's walking me through installations, making a branch.
Fun fact, I actually wrote this.
You did this?
Yeah, I did it.
Oh, hang on a second. I want to run.
As Oh, no, no, yeah, that's like for the websites. It's like stated there, like if you want to run the website,
What?
this is for like if you want to run the website locally and stuff.
All right, wait. So I'm gonna move the panel right. So what do I do? I've run
You have to
PNPM
like
install and
cd if
that's
you want.
it.
Hmm. So it
CD.
says create a new branch, run the project. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So in case you want to run that, you can just pm run that. I think this actually does say that if you want to see the websites too, that is what. Let me see. Maybe that might be a mistake if that is not the case. Contribution guide, contribution guide. Let me see. So it actually does say, oh, yeah, it does. Hmm.
Yeah. So in
It
in
actually does say that, yeah.
I, oh, invalid live blocks client option. Should I worry about that?
Yeah, if you want to run the website, you might need to go to live blocks to generate an API key that you can use. As I say, it says it there too.
Okay.
To create an account and then yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, yeah, that is pretty much, yeah, good, 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 good.
I go to live
And
blocks to create an account. Get your API key.
mhm.
How do I get an API key?
You can basically just, let me see, where is it? Project, create a project, yeah. Yeah.
API keys. And I'm gonna have to immediately roll this key because I'm sharing it on stream. Look, everyone, oh wait, no, this is the public key. This is fine. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to take a quick break as I'm getting a package delivered. My apologies to everyone. So I'm gonna roll an ad for
Okay.
1 minute.
Yeah, sure, no problem at all. Let me see the audience. How many people are watching in the audience? Let me chat. Hello, everyone. You should be able to chat, right? Oh, it's connecting to chat. Actually, not connected. This is not fair. It So Josh will be back very soon. So I was actually looking through the contribution guide, and that part that Josh was on says, come in, Control F, npm run and dev. You want to run the website locally? Yes, yes. Yeah, okay. Current first. So you want to create locally, you need to run. Yeah.
And I'm back.
I have some game change. Yeah, welcome back.
Hello. How's it going?
Yeah. Welcome back. I did not see an ad. Usually shows me about 7.
Ugh, the ads on
What
Twitch have
ad?
gotten ridiculous. I don't know actually how that
Oh,
works.
okay.
Um, yeah. So, well, I'm glad you didn't see an ad, Emma. But okay. So, sorry about that. Someone was on call to get our packages, and she's in the bathroom right now. But we should all say hi to my
Yeah,
spouse.
sure.
All right. So I've got my secret key.
Hey, hi.
So .m.
Yes.
There is no .env example. Help me.
Yeah, just create the just created an env in the roots.
In the root.
Yeah, I think there should be an env example in the roots though. There isn't.
I don't see one.
Interesting.
And same
It
with
says...
a website.
Should actually be in the website. This is a good catch though. Definitely going to add that there. But yeah, you can create an env and just paste the with the paste the live blocks public key. Let me give you an example.
Okay.
Come in. What should I paste this? Can I paste this here? Oh, live code. Live share. Do you have live share, Josh?
You know what?
I was actually going to suggest that.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
Good call. I think I uninstalled the extension because I kept accidentally triggering the shortcut. No, it's still enabled. Alrighty. And I can DM you. Copied. Side note. Oh, X is over capacity. Please wait a few minutes to try again. I'll share it in our private Google Meet. Oh yeah, so for visibility to the stream, we have 2 meetings that we've joined each other on. We're on a Twitch stream together, and we're on Toby's fancy Google tier, so I don't have to dip into Microsoft Teams.
So live share. Probably should copy this somewhere. Come in. Where's my notes? Notes. Pasted. So I come back here and copy the live share link, and I should be joining anytime soon. As I've shared. Did I uninstall live share? Okay, it's here. So join.
By the way, I'm taking notes visibly for issues to file. One is going to be on Million for the docs, the no example, and the other is on VS Code because looking up live share, I'm getting this deprecated one. Maybe don't show that by default.
Okay, I'm here. I actually just joined.
Awesome, there you are. Hello, welcome.
Okay.
Source live
Hello.
share. Cool. Are you able to do things? I'm never sure what's actually possible.
Yeah, I'm able to. So in your roots directory for websites, we can actually create an env. I don't know. Can you create maybe something? Mm-hmm. Oh, you are there. Okay. So now here, we can use this value. I'm pretty sure this was stated in the contribution guideline. Let me see. Wait, didn't say that. I'm coming. Let me look for it. Live blocks. Let me just control F, live blocks. Yeah, it says that add the API key to the next public live blocks public key something. That variable. So just equate it. Yeah, exactly. Like that. Mm-hmm. So now if we cd to website and run dev, should be running. But that's just for the website's code base.
Cool. I'm actually thinking of
What's
filing
going on?
an issue for this. Do you think it'd be reasonable to add an option to just not have the live blocks key?
I'm thinking because I didn't actually set it up. So what's going on? What's that? Do you need to restart or something?
Um, maybe it's in the. Oh, you know what? I'm betting this M should actually be in website.
Yeah, it should be in website. Oh, I thought you added it to website. You can move it to website.
Oh yeah, my bad. I added it to root. My bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just in case I'll restart. Very exciting.
Didn't know we had the example thing removed. Thought the example thing was there.
Oh
Can't
no.
believe it was removed. What's that? Come on.
Unhandled runtime. Oh no. What's going on?
100 runtime. Cause initial UI. Is the next thing?
Mm-hmm.
Looks like a next issue.
So that's exciting. We get to debug together. Yay.
So let's see. Um.
It's got the call stack with container
Uh.
TSX. Line 8, which doesn't exist. That's nice.
Oh wait, this is weird. No, where are you? Let me follow you.
So just looking at the call stack, I see it references pages indexed NBX, which renders home, main, hero. So if I go to components home, index TSX, let's just move them in order. So left to right, index renders home, renders hero.
Yeah.
I'm going to zoom out once. Someone let me know if that's too small text. Which renders a div, which renders a container. So I'm guessing it's div container.
Okay.
Where does this contain? Oh,
Container is coming from container.
Huh.
Interesting. This is. I need to see something. Your window. Let me check my own code of Million here.
Sure.
Let's see if I have that. Checking.
Oh, hang on. I might not even be looking at the right error, because this is giving me the warning each child in the list should have a unique key prop, and I'm looking at the company's component here.
Oh.
Which has a bunch of entries.
They each have keys. Oh wait, are the keys similar?
There's no key on the div.
Okay, they're not.
Oh no, where'd it go? This div's missing. Ooh, you're using Tailwind. Do you have an opinion on Tailwind?
Yeah. My opinions on Tailwind are mostly that it's alright. I don't really see anything wrong with it. But I don't but I don't really use it that much at work, and it's been a while. I think the only place I get to use Tailwind is on the Million code base. I use SAS for work and stuff like that. And Stout components. But it's been a while I've used Tailwind.
That makes sense. Yeah, I like Tailwind. I see there's another place with a key warning, so let me see if I can find where that is. Another
I think
one.
your ESLint is doing this right. Your ESLint is throwing all these errors.
Yeah. Hoisted on my own petard, as they say. Which, by the way, fun fact for the viewers, that phrase, hoisted on your own petard, comes from the concept of a petard, which is an explosive carrying person in the Middle Ages. So to be hoisted on your own petard would be to like if someone buried below the battleground and planted the explosives and then they explode while you're on top of that area. The hoisted is referring to you getting launched by that. Love history.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's some words that phrase sounds similar to that have nothing to do with the phrase, but are very offensive. Cool. Well, it looks like it's running. I just fixed some key complaints, but yeah, those are from React's lint rules. I think the key
I think
shenanigan.
those are potential issues. Or what do you think?
Yeah,
We could raise them as issues.
lint complaint on keys
Nice.
locally. Awesome. Cool. So what do you want to look at next?
So, so yeah, we set up the website. I don't really see. We already saw the website like in production and stuff like that. It has I don't know, the documentation, showcase, and every other thing. But I think the part of the million code base, I mean, we set it up now, so this is all right. Part of the million code base where it
Oh, oh no, and he's frozen. Oh,
if you the packages, oh my god, did my network throw me out? Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. You were frozen for a brief moment. I heard we started looking
Oh,
at the website and then nothing.
okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, internet.
Okay, awesome. So if we could go to the packages directory in the code base is where the fun actually happens with Million. That's where we see like the core code of Million and everything. So now we can get to play around with and then explore bit by bit the logic and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we see a couple of projects: the CLI, the compiler, the GXX runtime, Kitchen Sink, which is another project of ours, and yeah, the Million core code and everything else. So yeah, but the website was a different project, so we just basically set that up, and there isn't really much to, unless you think we should be scouting for issues on the website or something.
Eh, to me, I feel like you see one website, you've seen them all. Like it's the same issues on most websites. Like there's some small accessibility things always. Then like getting it, there's always
Okay.
some random environment key that doesn't work. But otherwise, like to me the exciting part is Million itself. Like how does this thing actually do? So like I guess my
Okay,
question to you is then
let's
like
explore that.
yeah, how do we explore that? Like where would be the entry point for us to start looking into?
Oh, that would be the folder named Million.
That makes sense.
That folder, the Million directory. Yeah.
Great package JSON.
Oh my God,
Great
man.
readme. All right, so Million exports a bunch of these. Do any of these names look familiar to you? Mount, patch, block, and so on.
Index, search, try to follow up here. Yes, can you hear me? Can you still hear me though?
Yes, okay. I can hear you. Still.
Okay. So yeah, these are some of the like no now if we I know as far as I know with some of the code that I'm seeing here, I know mount, patch, block are built-in functions that Million has. If you go to the internals on the website, you can see more about them. They're like built-in functions that Million has that uses it in its algorithm to actually make some of these optimizations and swapping and to do optimized diffing and everything. So and then we have like map array. Map array is a function that the for component uses underneath it to make optimizations and stuff. Render template is also another. To template is also another built-in function that Million has. Abstract blocks and block. I think it's talking about the block that is created that is returned from the block function in Million. And yeah, I'm not exactly sure what these other guys mean. I think they just mean vnode stuff, the TypeScript types and everything. You have the vnode and v elements and everything. So first child and next sibling is an optimization, um, should I say, algorithm that Million uses to help make sure that even while it does the swapping and the checks, it does in such a way that it can easily take the object because Million creates an object of there's something we call it it's like a hash map sort of. For example, for those dynamic parts in your DOM, Million can easily create a hash map and say and replace those dynamic part of your DOM with placeholders so that it puts them in a hash map and you can easily track them whenever a state change happens. It just easily swaps them instead of having to instead of the normal way that the React DOM does where it checks every level of your DOM. I mean, and then renders everything on every tiny change. Million doesn't do that. It does like a fine-grained reactivity thing. So we have like
Yeah,
a map where we used to keep track of that, and yeah.
that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. I'm also seeing a
And
really.
that's
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no. I was just listening to you.
Oh, sure. Yeah, no, I'm just pointing out here. This I love seeing little micro optimizations that I'm sure actually make sense at scale. This is kind of an older strategy
Okay.
that's lasted for a while of caching prototype accesses, where if you want to say reference
Oh, okay.
node.prototype, you store it in a variable, and then accessing the get own property descriptor is literally just object.getOwn
Mm-hmm.
property descriptor. So I'm guessing Million has to use these things a lot. So rather than constantly asking for an object, I get on property descriptor of node.prototype whatever next sibling. It's just cached here.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of cute.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that solution was actually suggested by someone from Solid actually to Aiden. If I remember the story correctly, I think that was how it happened
Ooh,
as to how you could get yeah.
that's awesome. By the way that I'm quickly hopping around to GitHub, I get asked about this once in a while, is I have an extension GitLens. It's one of the more popular VS Code ones. And then I have the Boolean
Yeah,
per line.
I have it here too.
Hell yeah.
I have it here too. Gitlens.
Oh, look.
It's really cool.
It's also got it deprecated. Insiders. Awesome. Okay. Sorry, please continue.
No, I don't really know the like the core code stuff. So that's why we are exploring this together. I could explain like high level as to what some of these functions do and stuff like that. That's as far as I know
Got it.
of the core code of Million.
Okay. So what I find useful is I'll take a look at like just the very basic getting started example and then like go to source and see what the APIs look like that are being used in that.
That makes sense.
So does
That
it
makes sense.
cool. Is there like a website getting started page we should look at in particular?
To see what the core code does,
Just like the
or what do
very
you mean?
like the smallest possible use case of Million. Like
Oh yeah, sure, definitely. We can see like a demo. If we go to yeah, like the getting started. Like just scroll down, you see like a demo or introduction.
okay.
Introduction.
This or
No. Introduction. Oh, you mean like a production, like a demo in production, right? Or what do you mean?
just like in React, it's like React DOM dot render to string would be like the very basic thing. So I'm guessing like
Oh,
block would be a good one,
in
maybe.
yeah, or internals, block or internals. If you open internals folder, you should see
Oh,
more after. Yeah.
you did mention this internals, and then I looked for it and didn't find it real quick, and I just
Yeah.
thought it was like some random other thing or like a term. But you mean
Yeah.
there's literally a description? This is awesome.
Yeah.
Also, there's a little bit of audio background on your side, just a heads up. Dat boy 420, hello.
Oh,
What a great this Twitch name always cracks me up. We're looking at Million.js. We just started looking at the internals of Million.js. And thanks for the reminder, Ashley. I'm just going to quickly paste in the Twitch chat the link to the website. We're now on the internals side. So yeah, can you just to refresh my memory from 20 seconds ago, what is a block again?
mm-hmm.
Oh,
So a block is a component that is returned by the block function. Surprise, surprise. That Million has to no now the way a block works is that a block is basically should I say the optimized your optimized React component really. But now the block can work as a normal React component. So all the optimizations that needs to be done, the Million compiler would have done it from your block or something like within your block and when your block has been created from your normal React components and stuff. So yeah, I think that would be high level as to what a block is.
cool. Awesome. And once in a while, I'm going to write down
Can you
what you're
still hear the
saying.
background noise though, or is it cool now?
I hear it a little bit, but I
Okay,
can
okay.
make you out. Sounds like someone's washing dishes.
Okay, okay.
All right.
Okay. I
So,
don't think that is the case. Yeah. Okay.
okay. So it takes in four things, one required. So the FN, standard for function, is something that takes in props and returns
Mm-hmm.
an element. So it looks like from the examples, this is just your
Mm-hmm.
component. Um,
Yeah.
so just
Yeah.
ignoring these for the time being. So we first render
Mm-hmm.
it into this V node, um, which then turns it
Yeah.
from a string into the DOM, which is this root node, and then
Yeah.
it returns back a component that renders a block, which is what you were describing. Does that sound right?
Yes. 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 Yeah, it does. It does.
Cool. So my
That yeah.
the great the understanding that I have in my head now is that if I've understood you right, Million is for each of your components turning it into like this performance friendly memoized kind of representation called a block. And now each block is much more like
Yes.
performance friendly than before. And the reason why you can do that is it works with these rules of blocks so that it can guarantee that because the blocks are super cached and only update in very predictable ways, you can like avoid re-rendering them much more aggressively than in like stock React. Does that sound right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's yeah, that sounds right. That sounds right.
Cool. Is there anything you'd want to
Although
add to that?
some tiny tweaks though. Yeah, some tiny tweaks though, because the way the block essentially works is that yeah, obviously there's like caching and optimizations, but like the Million algorithm itself, the compiler that is the way it runs is that apart from it doing some optimized dirty checking and diffing, we do something called dirty checking rather. So a block, for example, has something that we call like when we wrap a component in a block, the algorithm runs us such that it checks the children of that current block that you have, and then we call it dirty checking. So when it does that, it can identify certain parts of that. Yeah, that's why we create the edit map. If you see the edit map on top, that's the edits array. So create that edit map. So that edit map basically can check the part of your block that are dynamic, and then it can record them like in a very clever way that the way the Million algorithm does it. So when a change happens to any component that is dynamic, which has been recorded in the edit map, Million automatically tracks it and then just swaps it out instead of the normal way that the React reconciliation runs, where it has to render everything from scratch. Million doesn't do that. So we have like this way where we can, and we have there's a value we add to a component that is dynamic, so that we can actually use to track that okay, this component is dynamic and stuff. So yeah, a normal React object has several other things like children and a couple of other things. So there's a way Million can easily just check that component, and we add our own attributes. I've forgotten the name of that. I think it's called if I remember correctly. They didn't do like a demo for me one time. There's an attribute we add to Alien joined. Hello Alien. There's an attribute
Hell
we
yeah.
add to the to those components that are dynamic, and we make those updates when
Awesome.
necessary.
Cool. Thanks. That's a very good, clear explanation. I appreciate it. Also, hi Elian, welcome. We were talking about you earlier. All positive
Yeah.
things. Cool. So yeah, this it's you know what, it's really funny because I have a 4-year computer science degree, which means that when I bring this up once in a while,
Mm,
I will have to bring it up. It makes sense too, and someone will say, "Oh, you know, the things I hear about like traditional American universities for computer science programming is that you learn a lot of theoretical stuff and very little practical," which in some sense is true. Like we had way more theory than was necessary, I think. And then one of my responses, yeah, but most of the benefit was networking and learning how to study, and really the project works, like doing clubs and student activities and personal projects with open source and stuff. And then I don't really use the theory. And then
yeah.
once in a while, very rarely does more than the surface level of the theory, like more than just like hash tables and loop optimizations, come into play. And this actually is an instance where computer science theory
Yeah.
is really useful, understanding the concept of a rendering tree. It's kind of upsetting.
Exactly, and this sort of ties. I do computer science. I do computer science as well, and I'm in my third year. But then when Aiden explained the algorithm of Million to me, I could easily piece stuff together and be like, oh, so I was like, oh, instead of the way React does optimizations with uh having to do renders every time with like an O of n algorithm, Million has like an O of one time complexity to make some of these optimizations. And it was like, yes, I mean most of these things are theoretical. Yeah, I have like several notes of books that I study and stuff. So and that was my book sounding. But
Yeah.
but then we don't actually get to practice some of these things, and it's kind of sad. But maybe it's good. Maybe.
I don't know. Yeah, it's a great question. Actually, I want to highlight something that someone first time chat welcome says. Two positive notes on this. One, Woodywood 117, great name. I'm guessing 117 is a reference to Halo. Love Halo. This thing. Second, speaking the message out loud, the problem is that people think that comp sci or computer science is the same as computer programming. They aren't the same thing. They're similar but not the same. Strong agree. They're both very good things that have a lot of overlap, but they are not the same. And computer programming is like a different area or different set of areas than computer science. Yeah,
Yeah. Mm.
I like that.
That makes sense.
It's another one of those things where like the delineation, the difference is like meaningless in normal speak. Like no one should ever be criticized for saying developer versus engineer versus programmer. But in this specific context, yeah, it makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, then Elian is a freaking electronics engineering
So
degree. Like a maniac, although I'm so jealous of that ability. I was
yeah,
awful. I got so bad grades in all of my engineering, like hardware classes.
El El Elian is very smart. It's very smart.
Yes, it's like a cheat code in life. Great. Awesome. Cool. Um, now that we've
Yeah,
successfully
okay.
ranted about the difference between different areas of teaching, I want to dive in just real quick, if you'll allow me, to million props because I think this is really funny. Um, the,
Hmm.
I just assumed going in that million props was like some special fancy reference to like the types of React props that are allowed. No, it's just any object that has string keys is what this means.
So okay, is this my cue?
Sure, go ahead.
So like I said, for example, I'm trying to find that thing. There was something Aiden showed at some point. If I can let me check, let me just try to find it out. Maybe just share it here.
Sure.
So it says something about us like because there's a clever way where it stringifies the entire like each component in React is essentially a JavaScript object. So there's a way we cleverly track that block like each component in React rather, and then we can say okay, you are dynamic, you take these attributes, we're adding it to the edit map and stuff. So let me just check that real quick. Why is my network being like this?
Ooh.
Uh,
So I see there is a blog post about the virtual DOM.
mm,
Virtualizing the virtual DOM.
looking. What's that?
I heard a bloop somewhere.
So if we can,
Dirty checking. By the way, I remember this blog post now. I'm going to post it in the chat. Great blog post, the virtual DOM one.
yeah, the virtual DOM one. Yeah, okay, he explains it in that blog. I was actually looking for that,
Oh, cool.
but I was looking for something else. But yeah, this works. Yeah, yeah. Let's use the blog
Okay.
there. So if we could scroll down to there's a part there. If you scroll down, no, there's a blog. You see like an animation thing where the algorithm was actually explained and stuff. It's like yeah, I think it's at the top.
Ooh.
It's at the top. Scroll to the top of the article. Yeah, exactly. So now you can see, you can actually like play through the slides and see how the algorithm does its optimizations and stuff.
Okay. Would you be open to walking me through as I go through?
Yeah, okay. So this is the current virtual DOM. So the one on the left is current virtual DOM, and the one on the right is the new virtual DOM with all the updates made. Finished. So now let's go through it step by step and see how the changes actually happen. So now the way the way with the process to go through for define and consideration. Okay, I think this is for the React algorithm. This is how the React algorithm works,
Oh, you wanted me to
or
go
something.
through
Yeah,
millions?
yeah. So yeah.
By the way, are you watching my screen share on Twitch with the 5 second lag or on the Google Meet? I worry that you're watching the lagged one, but I'm not sure.
Oh, I'm watching the Google Meet one actually.
Okay, great. So we're here. Is this what I
Yeah.
should be looking at?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Who am I playing with right now?
Yeah, this one. Yeah, that one.
Is this you? Is this someone in the chat?
No, it's not me.
All right.
So we can actually start from the first one. If we start from the first one, then we come to this one. If you go back to the top, then we can start with that one, then come back to this.
Okay.
Yeah, yes. So the way reconciliation works here, we see the current virtual DOM and see the new virtual DOM. So React goes by like checking each node in the DOM to see, okay, has a change happened there? Has a change happened there? And yeah, okay, yeah, just move. It checks that has it changed. No, it hasn't. But obviously we know this is the new virtual DOM. It knows that okay, this has changed. It updates 2 to 5. Then it goes. If you go again to the next slide, this is a normal React DOM algorithm. The way it goes to check every single node in the tree to try to check if a change has happened, and then it makes those updates while it's checking and stuff like that, which we identify as being suboptimal. So what we do is something called static analysis. If you go down to if you scroll down, so this is how the block virtual DOM works. It does scroll up. You scroll up, you see those 2 pointers. So it does something. No, no, yeah, no, like static analysis. The block virtual DOM. Scroll up, scroll up. Yeah. So it does something called static analysis and dirty checking. Yeah, like I was saying. So the virtual DOM is analyzed, extracts, passed into an edit map or something, and the dynamic like of the dynamic parts of the virtual DOM and stuff like that. And they will also do dirty checking. The state is to determine what has changed and say, okay, has this changed, has that changed? Then we update that the DOM directly from the edit map, like I explained earlier and stuff. So this is just a demo to show you how we use the yeah how a normal counter app works. The ones when we wrap it with block. So now exactly. So the virtual DOM now works, and if you see those question marks are meant to represent the parts of the DOM that we've identified as having okay like changes or something, or like maybe are going to remove from the DOM either unmounted or they are going to be updated. So we use like a question mark like a placeholder to identify okay this should actually be updated and this shouldn't be updated and stuff like that.
Got it.
So
Cool. Sorry, I want to pause here,
yeah.
just confirm
So
my
we extract
understanding.
this.
May I?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah,
Thanks.
go
No, this
ahead.
is really interesting. So my understanding is that the React model looks at the component level, like the backing component. But one of the problems with that, or the issues, is that the bottleneck is that the virtual DOM, the more nodes you have, the more time it takes to diff. So so now we have the block DOM, which is kind of like a different layer or a
Mm-hmm.
different level of that layer. So instead of looking at the much larger original DOM or virtual DOM representation, we're now looking
Mm-hmm.
like closer to what the user has, which is smaller and therefore a little more easily to statically analyze. Is that right?
Analyze.
Analysis eyes,
Yeah, but
yes.
like yeah, like that's actually in, in theory that's actually very correct and you're spot on. Close, very close. But like yeah, let me like also raise like a shout out or bring out the point out. So Million was actually built around something called the block DOM. So the block DOM is a project that that is like a new virtual DOM paradigm that exists. If you check somewhere around on GitHub, you can find the block DOM. Yeah, exactly, you found it. So the block DOM is a project is the project that Million was built around. So Aiden basically took the block DOM. I wasn't on the Million team then. He took the block DOM and the algorithm that it has, and then it builds a wrapper around it that allows React and Next.js to work with it and stuff. So most of the algorithms here that you see with static analysis and dirty checking were actually things that the block them already has, were like concepts that were taken from there as inspiration. So so now if we look at the first okay, are you following? Sorry, I'm trying to like I'm trying to like to I don't know, is this good, or should I go ahead or something?
Yeah, please. This is great. And also, I
Awesome,
just want to
awesome.
remind the
So
chat to ask questions too if
yeah,
any of
awesome.
this is unclear. Please.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, definitely ask questions, please. Please. We're learning together here. So now the static analysis, which is one of the steps that the block DOM uses. Um, So the step is responsible for extracting dynamic parts of the DOM. This is where we actually now check, okay, are the parts out of DOM that the updates have been made to change and stuff, and then we replace them with like placeholders and stuff like that. So if you look at each step and the show notes at the bottom, I said show notes, and the notes at the bottom of each one of them. Okay, I think this is you, and this is me, the other cursor. Okay, I see you. Oh, somebody else is there. So instead of rendering React, we render using Million.js, which passes O's. O's are like we call them O's. They are these question marks, and the O's act as placeholders for dynamic contents that are used during static analysis. So, are you moving? You can move to the next one. Yes. So now we now check. Now this static analysis. This is where we now actually go through to extract all the dynamic parts and use that edit map. You remember the edit map I said? Now this is where we now check. Now we go to each one to check if they have a placeholder. The first one doesn't. It's not dynamic. The second one doesn't. And now this is also the same. Now this example we are looking at is the same thing as the previous guy at the top that React was doing with 1.5 something something. Do you remember that? Yeah. So now this is it, but now we're using million instead of the React. Yeah, this is the same thing. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's. By the way, we have a question from the chat. A good one, learner. Is there a different check for redundancy? I'm guessing if learner,
But
if
what does it mean by redundancy?
I'm,
Check for redundancy.
yeah, I'm not sure. Learner, if you could type again, that would be great. I'm guessing you meant like just in case something breaks through, like if a component unexpectedly changes something outside of the blocks paradigm. Is there a check for that? I'm guessing that's what you mean, but I'm not sure.
Not exactly sure what that means. If okay, like what did you actually say, Joshua? Could you repeat that what you said, Josh,
Sure.
so I
So
could get that? You said something like if a component. Mhm.
yeah, like what happens if like a component breaks the block model? Like if it accidentally uses like React context or something in an unpredictable way, or like Redux violating a rule of Redux or something. Like React has a lot of checks to make sure that you're doing
Oh,
things the right way.
the million algorithm basically at times just reverts um to React in those cases where something breaks, maybe because like I said, we have like million as a clever way of like layering on top React, such that React doesn't actually know that okay, this block is something that should not exist in React, because React will still accept the block component when it's created and when it's passed, because it looks like a component to React. So React doesn't exactly know that this is for million. So he sees it, the way React sees is that he sees it as a normal component that should be rendered. So it does render it and stuff like that. So, but in cases where something has maybe million has done, maybe you wrapped it something with a block that shouldn't be wrapped in a block, which TLDR is still the rules of blocks. But yeah, Million just eventually just reverts back to React and says, okay, just use React instead. This doesn't need Million or something like that. Don't know if that makes sense. So,
I think it makes sense to me, but I'll defer to the chat to confirm. It's like if something breaks or
how do you make them sure that perform? Yeah, by perform checks only when necessary. You mean by check the component, by checking a component to see if it actually needs to be optimized, or are you talking about static analysis? Because I'm trying to understand that. Learner, I'm like talking to learner. If learner can hear, like when React renders DOMs, there's like a lot of checks here. Yeah, You're talking about doing static analysis, right, Nela? Are we waiting for Lena now?
Yes. I think it's yeah, so I think it's a single question at this point. Learn to yell at me if I'm wrong. That like how do you know whether to bail down to React level instead of the Million.js algorithm?
Oh, oh, okay. Okay, that part I'm not exactly sure of, but like the way I'll probably like answer that would be that there are already. I think I think my understanding of this, as far as I know, as per how the Million algorithm works, is that um if something already overrides the rules of um the way the rules of Million, which is the rules of blocks that I've said like 100 times already, um it sort of just sees that okay, this optimization cannot happen or is unnecessary. So it just basically reverts it back to say that okay, React take over this and this is your thing. Handle this, React. Million should not be doing this or something like that. I don't know. So that's somewhere, probably somewhere in the core code, but like based on my understanding, I'm just answering this. I may be wrong or something as to how that exactly works.
Cool.
So I'm not sure if I answered the question, Lena.
I think it's a really good question, and the fact that we would have to perhaps have to dive down into the source code to figure out whether and how it's able to detect things is indicative that it's a very good question. Yeah, I'm gonna say for the sake of time,
Yeah,
because I
it
do want
is.
to dive more into the source code. Let's keep going through the blog post, and then we can see later if we can find how it does that.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. So now static analysis, it basically checks to see each node in the tree to see, okay, does this node have a placeholder? Because placeholders are basically are added to nodes that are likely to change or are dynamic. Let's use that. So now we check the first one. If you go to the next one,
Oh,
no, you're supposed to click on the plus. Yeah. Then it checks the next node in the tree. Does this have a placeholder? It says no. It's like a boolean that checks either true or false. And now it finds a component that has, now if you go to the next one, now it finds a component that has like a placeholder, and then the edit map springs into action. And then we basically just replace, we basically just like notify the edit map that okay, we found a component that has a placeholder, and now keep track of these components. Now we are going to now check if node one changes, we need to update the placeholder and replace that with the new state updates or whatever that happens to that node. That is static analysis, basically. So, and then we go to the next one, we check, we find that guy as well. We add it to the edit map and we keep track of it with the edit map and stuff like that. And then we basically still just check the. So this is just the traversal of how the block down would work with static analysis, just the tree traversal, but in a different way, obviously, like keeping track and stuff. So now now this is where now dirty checking now springs into action after your edit map has been created. So if your edit map is created based on whether or not placeholders are found, and then it starts, obviously adding more things to the edit map. So now the edit map has been created. Dirty checking now starts its own work and stuff. So now obviously you are keeping track of um both nodes, the nodes that are rendering one and two. You scroll down, yeah, exactly. You're keeping track of those two nodes, and then you have like a block side by side with. You have a new block that has made the updates with 3 and 4, but like this is the initial block we had with 1 and 2. So we go to the next one. We basically check node 1 and node 2, and we see that okay, yes, node 1 has a change. 3 was added in place of 1. It says yes to the that it says yes to the edit map. So the edit map basically replaces that value inside of the edit map, and node 1 goes from 1 to 3. It does the same check with the other node, and then we see that the update has happened, and then like at constant time we make these updates directly to the DOM, and then the new DOM has been created. So that is essentially these are essentially the two steps rather, as to how the block DOM works. Static analysis, dirty checking, and the updates happen with the edit map. So I guess and then we save the address. We save the address like so there's a way we address how do I do this? there's a way we like have a way to directly say that this is the address to the part of the tree that you should be keeping track of. So it's like an address to your house or something that, okay, keep track of this guy, and then when a change happens, just directly go to this address and make that change instead of you having to traverse the entire tree again. We save the address to that part of the tree that we need. When any change happens, we just go directly there and swap out based on what we have from the edit map.
Cool. So I'm keeping open the earlier part of the blog post on the right. So we see that under the default React algorithm, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 steps: 2 to 5, move 3, move 4, 5 to 2, and then here we have just the 2 steps: 1 to 3, 2 to 4. And so we're missing the swap 2 to 5 parts, update 2 to 5 and 5 to 2, but we've gotten much more direct updates from 1 to 3 and 2 to 4. Am I understanding this right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Cool.
Exactly.
This is really interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you.
My pleasure. I'm glad I was able to explain it live and I didn't embarrass myself.
Not yet. There's still time.
Oh, good.
Cool. Awesome. So
Okay,
going.
so moving on, right?
Mhm. Yes.
I see Demian. Demian says updates. Oh, I think he's talking about live blocks.
Yeah. Demian's still playing around with the cursors, I'm guessing. All right. Cool. I'm just curious. I'm going to hop into the
So,
block. So I'm curious if there's like a single place in the source code where we could see the algorithm you just described. If there's like an update TS or something. What is
I think that would
M?
probably be if we went. M is a function. I know it's a function. Let me see. It's a function. It's a rename for like a function. If I like track it, let me see if I can track it.
Got it.
All right.
At the very bottom, we see
I can't
mount
control click. Okay, you
scholar.
found it. Mount patch. Yeah.
Okay.
So mount patch built-in functions that we use to make the algorithm to it. Yeah.
Cool. So I'm gonna open it in two sides. On the left, we'll see the top of the function. On the right, we'll see the bottom, just to
Mhm.
be able to see it all at once. Um,
Mhm.
so just going through an order, we clone the root element and get the
Mhm.
elements, whatever that is. And then for each of those elements,
Mhm.
by the way, look at this little micro optimization. I love it.
Mhm.
For let I equals 0, j equals this dot e dot length, I less than j, I plus plus. Instead of just saying I less than the number of elements, it caches the number of elements in a j, so it doesn't have to ask this dot e dot length each time. Love it. Uh,
Yeah.
cool. So we look at the current element. We get the elements at the L at that index, elements of I. So there are two
Yes.
arrays in place. There's this dot E, and then there's also the elements, which is the corresponding something.
Yeah.
Do you know what that is?
Yeah.
What is so yeah, what's the difference between this dot E and then elements, the get elements call? Is that like the difference between the virtual DOM and the actual DOM?
Not exactly sure. Let's see. Could we read the source code maybe of get elements?
Cool. And I'm also seeing this interesting pattern here for navigating the source code where abstract block is used kind of like a interface. It's the class that everything extends from, but doesn't define the implementations of
Yeah.
these.
Yeah.
But then all the methods are named single letter, I'm guessing for size, that has a little
Yeah.
comment saying what it is. So G is actually get elements. So
Get elements.
if we look at
Yeah.
G, which is implemented, where is G implemented? Oh, this dot G equals get elements, which is Okay, so then generally a block is told how it can get elements, um, where this.g equals get
Yeah.
elements, which takes in a root HTML element and returns an array of elements. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
So, how do we? So G is optional.
Mm-hmm.
What is C? What? I'm getting lost. All right. So in
It
mount,
will be in the interface. It will be in
with
the interface. Mm-hmm.
yeah. All right.
Let's see. C. That's probably a bad idea. Let's see.
C is cache.
Cache. It's an HTML element array, an array of elements. Okay. Then there's patch, which is an abstract function. Mm-hmm. Takes in a block, and then it returns an HTML element. And then we have mount as well. So they're like, yeah, you're actually right. The abstract block is the interface for yeah for a block apparently, and then every other component. I mean, the block that is created from the block function probably extends it according to what I see. Let's see. Showcase. Sorry, not showcase. Here, we're looking at block. The DOM right here. Why is this thing like this? Okay. So if you try it, okay. Okay, readme templates. If you actually abstract wrap.
So just
Mm. Oh, what'd you say?
so I'm just gonna recap what I understand so far to make sure we're on the same page and to help me solidify. So there are a few
Mm-hmm.
fields on
Okay.
abstract block we care about right now. Get elements is some way to go from your root element to the array of elements corresponding to it. What I don't understand is what is that relationship? Like, this is my question. Like, is this children nodes? Like, what is that? Um, but whatever that is, and in your constructor, which sets this.g to get elements, um, either way, we store C as cache as elements. So I'm guessing it's like the child DOM nodes that are generated, or DOM elements that are generated. Not sure. But regardless of that, what we're doing in this.e loop, the one right here, is we're looping over this.e, which
Mm-hmm.
is, oh God, what's E? Edits. So this is the list of edits you
Is
need to
edits,
make.
yeah.
Oh, so this is
Mm-hmm.
edits corresponding to your DOM elements. Um,
Yes.
okay, so I, I think this just clicked for me actually. So this dot get elements gets the corresponding DOM elements for whatever your root is. The edits is for each of those elements
Mm-hmm.
the corresponding at that index edit to be made to it. So in the loop we get the current element. Whoa. We get the current elements for that edit, and then for each of the edits things to be done. So edit.edits or edit.e, which is a little confusing his name, but I understand
Mm-hmm.
how it got there. We then, for each of the elements, so for each of the edits actions, edits to be made, and that's where we stopped or paused. So now we know that we're getting for each element to be edited, we now are looping over the edits to be made for that element. Yeah? Am I doing okay?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I think you are. I think I don't know the source code, so we are on the same page. Yeah. Yeah, we're definitely on the same page.
Awesome. Cool. So then going through those, we're looking at the edit, which is current e dot. By the way, I want to point out a little bit of TypeScript things since we talked previously about looking at like TypeScript and linting and stuff. There's this little exclamation mark here
Yeah.
that's happening in a lot of places. Are you familiar with the
Yeah.
non-null assertion?
Mm. Yeah, I am. I use that a lot sometimes in my code.
Makes sense. Yeah, so just looking at the compiler options, I'm seeing that like this dot e of I seems to need the non-null assertion because if we don't have it in, const current is edit or undefined.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, we don't even need to look at compiler
Mm-hmm.
options because the type of this block.e is an array of edits. Now, by default, TypeScript
Yeah.
thinks that I'm just going to open up a new TypeScript file here on the side. Like if you have an array, let's like declare const, I don't know, fruits is string. Fruit is
Mm-hmm.
just my default example. And you do like const
String.
fruit equals fruits 0. TypeScript knows that fruit is type string. I'm using a little 2/ assertion extension to print what the type is. But if you have a particular compiler option enabled, the name of which I can never goddamn remember, so I'm just going to go ahead and look it up. It's like no unchecked index area. There we go. If you have this compiler option enabled, which I think it looks like Million does, it says any lookup in an array could get you undefined, which is true. Like if you look outside the bounds of the array. So we're just going to say that any
Yeah.
element, if you get it,
Yeah.
is potentially undefined unless you either use a non-null assertion or have previously made sure that the I is inside the array, which is real annoying, but also technically more safe. Sound reasonable?
That makes sense. Yeah, it does. Sounds reasonable.
Cool.
Sounds reasonable.
Yeah. And learner asks in the chat, yeah, non-null assertion is usually not recommended. Any type assertion is a bad idea unless you absolutely need to do it. Like if you know more than TypeScript, then the assertions are the right thing to do.
Just too much of it's too much if else's and follows for me to understand.
Elliot, I literally don't believe you. I think you're just being bashful. Cool.
So yeah.
All right, so now we're looking at each of the. So, Toby, what I'm seeing here now is a bunch of if-elses, as Elliot notes, and it looks like all of them are checking if the edit.t, which is the. What is this? Where is edit.t declared? Edit attribute. Oh, so this is the
Edit
type
attributes.
of the attribute. Yeah. So we're checking if the edit is modifying a child or modifying an event or an attribute or a style attribute, whatever. For each of those possible ones, we're applying a different kind of change. Is that right?
Change, yeah, like based on prop changes. These are basically props if you think about it, yeah, for the edits and stuff.
Cool.
So we're recording, okay, these are the things that are likely to change by the child node, yeah.
Awesome. So edit is type. Oh, this is interesting. Edit is type current.e, which is one of these possible types. It's either an edit attribute, style attribute, edit SVG, edit child event. Does the phrase
Child edit event, yeah.
Yeah, does the phrase tagged union or does the phrase discriminated union mean anything to you in TypeScript?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Awesome.
Tied union and discriminative union, no.
Let's go into this because this is like a core part of how this works, and I love it because it's this awesome joining of like a bunch of really core parts of TypeScript's type system and like type theory in general, and then also how people practically write code.
Okay.
Notice how
Okay, awesome.
We're asking if edit.t is child flag, and if edit.t is child flag, we're treating the edit as a child edit or a edit child rather. This t on the child is what's called a tag or a discriminant. Both of those terms get used interchangeably in this context. We're saying that if here, actually, I'm gonna make a I'm going to make a new file in some way, temp.ts. So let's say I have a declare const my edit, which is edit of e, let's say.
Edit.
Which is the type of edit e. Come on, import. There we go. So my edit is one of these things. Actually, I'm going to say my edit of e of number so that my edit is one of these. Is this a syntax that you've played with before?
Oh, I actually haven't written. I don't actually didn't say myself. I can't remember a point where I've written this before. No.
Cool. Let's go to this
And
then.
this is just pure TypeScript. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying here is, by the way, I'm asking you, have you played with this before, just to know how to explain it, because I'm going to assume for each of these concepts at least one person viewing hasn't seen them. So what I'm asking for here is, I want under the edit, whatever this is, interface, I want to retrieve the e field on it. So that's this one.
E.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my edit.
And E is of type edit attributes, edit style, edit SVG, edit shadow, edit events, or an array of any of those types. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So using this fancy little 2/ assertion, oh boy, we see that it's an array of whatever. It's literally whatever. I'm telling TypeScript whatever the type of edit of e is, give me that. I'm just asking for it. So in this case, it's this type.
Okay.
On the next line, I'm asking for give me whatever the type of my edits is, type of my edits. Give me whatever I would get under number. Instead of under e, it's under number, which is that type union of edit attribute, style, and so on. Make sense?
Okay. Yeah, makes sense. Type of my edits under number. What is number, by the way? Okay, number is P.
Number is literally just any number. I'm saying this is like a cute little hack for arrays.
Any number.
I'm saying because I know my edits is an array of things, meaning there's if you get something under a number, it'll give you a particular type. Give me whatever I would have under numbers under that array. So it's asking for the type
because
of the elements.
Okay, I think it makes sense. The indexes of arrays are numbers. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Like the indexes of arrays are represented by numbers 0 to n or whatever.
Yes. Exactly. So actually, I'm going to put comments here. I'm glad Bumblebee's used this before. Yeah, so my edits is the type of whatever exists under the edit interface, or on the edit interface under the key E. And then my edit singular is the type of whatever elements, whatever exists on the type of my edits under from number lookups, aka my edit is the elements type of elements under the type of my edits, under the array type of my edits. Cool. All this shenanigan, 11 lines with comments, 2 lines without, is to say my edit is the union of edit attribute or whatever. And honestly, what I would personally do is I would extract a type alias. So like edit known edits or something. I don't know what I would call that. So I would call that known edits. So then I could just say like my edit 2 is like
this is
known edits.
This is neat. This makes sense. Yeah, this makes sense. actually.
Cool. I guess it wants me to import.
Okay, I'm familiar with this one, though. This one you just did now. I'm familiar with that.
Cool. Yeah. Responding to Bumblebee in the chat, yes, this is a cool way of extracting the types infinitely. Like you can get whatever types you need from some other thing using this type of magic. But all right. So discriminated union or tagged union is saying based on one of the properties, we know it's something else. So if we say switch on my edits dot t, if we know my edit dot t, or if we know it's a flags dot block, let's say, where's flags? What is flags dot block? Okay, if we know it's, let's say 32, which is flags dot block. Whoa, I was trying to comment. Then my edit is, what is this complaining about? Oh, you have a lint rule complaining about it not being exhaustive. My God. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna switch this to an actual enum so I can import it. A const enum declared is hard to work with because it doesn't actually exist. So I'm just temporarily switching it to a
Okay.
real thing. My God, there's so many, so many lint complaints. Okay, here we go. Why is it complaining? What is this? Flags.child. Whatever. Anyway, inside case flags.child, my edit is going to be known to be an edit child, even though outside of it, it's known to be known edits only. This is because TypeScript is smart. It can see that if my edit.t is flags.child, the only constituent or the only known possible type is edit child. So it can deduce, it can narrow specifically or refine the type to just edit child. Does that strike you as
That makes
reasonable?
sense because yeah, it's reasonable because what we did before was like having like a possibility of types, but now we're now running a check with a switch or a condition to check whatever is coming from the my edit array to see, okay, if this matches this, then do this instead. So yeah, we're narrowing down the type per, is it per the values in the array or per the entire array?
Yes, exactly. And there are a few keywords here that
Okay.
are I find useful in explaining and understanding. One of them you use, narrowing. It's literally like, oh, I've narrowed down what it can be. Process of elimination. I know, based on this property, the tag or discriminants, yeah, it must be a child. And by the way,
Mm-hmm.
there
Mm,
I have been taught this, or I was taught this under the name discriminated type unions, as in this property is the discriminant, as in from the mathematical concept of discrimination, just to be very clear on what we're talking about here. From the mathematical concept of discrimination, this particular property lets you separates out what type it is, lets you discriminate. There's some real obvious reasons why that's not
that
an
makes sense.
easy
That makes
phrase to
sense.
say. So I've heard people start to say tags, as in
Yeah,
this is a
actually.
tag union.
Mm,
So I might start calling it
tag
tags.
union. Okay. That tag union. That's actually a very terrible name as well, but I think it works.
I know. One of the names means something else in modern English, and then the other name doesn't describe it as well. So we're kind of stuck here. We don't have great terminology. Yeah,
Okay, it makes sense. It makes sense.
cool.
Mm.
This is like a day or like a monthly
Alright.
pain for me. Like every time I do a TypeScript workshop, I have to go through that whole convoluted explanation of why I'm like grimacing while explaining the topic. Uh, yeah, but cool. So that's how this works.
That's actually.
Thoughts?
Elian is very active in the chat. He said he wants to read your book again.
I think I have a stream elements command for this. Learning. Damn it, stream elements. What are you doing? Well, anyway, learningtypescript.com. Yes, I wrote a book on this. Buy it today. Cool. So actually, fun.
Definitely. Shameless.
Shameless promotion. So fun
Go
fact,
ahead.
this actually isn't using it as a discriminated union or tagged union. It's using and, which is like a binary or bit arithmetic thing or number arithmetics. So I don't know why. I'm wondering if maybe edits can do multiple things and we just go for the first match, or if it's just like a performance optimization. I'm guessing it's
Yeah, it could
performance
be of either
optimization.
types, I'm guessing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but cool.
Could be very.
So yeah, just going through these in order. If it's a child flag and it's not an abstract block, then we, or if it's a child flag, depending on what type of block it is, we mount the abstract block. So either it's a block or a node. If it's a block, we mount the block. If it's a node, then I don't know what this foreign things means. I'm guessing some externality like a Chakra UI component, and then otherwise we mount the text of it.
Mm, okay, wait, sure. Wait, object foreign. It's another looking at the child edit here. It's another block. Extra block. Mm-hmm. Check how you are. Okay.
Just, eh?
Okay.
So, tell me if I'm wrong here. So it looks like there are three possible types of children. There's another block, abstract block. There's a foreign reference, e.g. component lib, and then there's text directly, which is like the string child. Does that sound right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it sounds right. It sounds right. Yeah, actually.
Cool.
Okay, this sounds right. Mm-hmm. Oh
Um,
wait, text
oh,
directly foreign reference. Another block. What about like for events and the other guys?
there we go. So those aren't children. Those would be looking at an event. So then if the edit is for an event, then we create an event listener, uh, and then
Mm-hmm.
create event listener, um, add it to the element where under,
Mm-hmm.
so this event patch key prefix is a string underscore underscore p, and then edit dot n, which is uh, edit dot name.
And then there's for styles as well, I guess. If it's a style attribute or something, or SVG attributes.
Yeah, so skipping, yeah, so for both of these, if we're looking at a style, just with quotes around it, directly set attributes. So that calls to the DOM thingy, which looks like at the end of the day it calls set attribute or remove attribute in some way. And then if we're looking at a
Mm-hmm.
style, then we, if it's a string, set that directly. If it's an object, set that recursively or in a loop. If it's an SVG, do some SVG stuff. So yeah, I haven't played with them much, but like SVG elements in the DOM are weird and different in subtle different ways. Question mark.
Yeah, they are. They are very weird. Very, very. I can testify to that.
Cool. All right.
How do you even write types for SVGs?
Oh my god. Let's get into that. So, let's say, uh, let's say you have, I don't know, like an SVG root, which is like an SVG element. Um, so
Mm-hmm.
if you look at the
Oh, it's
SVG
beautiful.
element type and then you go to the built-in types for that, which under TypeScript is lib.dom.dts,
Okay.
you can see
Mm-hmm.
that there is a root. I'm going to open two of these actually. There is a root element interface which describes all elements. Fun fact: the way that
The
it's
elements interface, yeah, in HTML, yeah.
yeah, the way that TypeScript represents a lot of built-ins is the way that they're technically implemented, which is that there's a global variable which predates the concept of classes, and then that variable is the same name of the type that it is, which is element creates a new
Mm,
element. Got it. And fun fact,
okay,
Elements
okay. Mm-hmm.
implements quite a few things, such as node. So the concept of an element is different from the concept of a node. Node is superset of element because there are multiple things that can extend node, such as text, I think. So you have an element, uh, which can be implemented by an HTML element or an SVG element. So we like already have like elements, which can be
Mm-hmm.
which forks down. Look, another tree. Isn't this lovely? To
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to.
HTML elements.
Ugh.
SVG. You're going to have to extend now. Yeah.
Yeah, I hate having to draw these. Cool. Yeah. So then SVG element and at that point they just like diverge. Like there are different types of SVG elements, like ellipse and blend and whatever. But yeah, that's how TypeScript represents like DOM things.
But I don't think slots. I don't think slots follows this though. You know the slots element in HTML. I think it extends something else. If I check, or if you could like, if we could infer the type of slots. Yes, see,
Are slots native
slots
to
is like a
HTML?
slots. Yeah, I think they are. Slots is a native HTML tag. So
Okay.
it's kind of weird.
Oh my god,
Yeah, it's
Shadow
native. Did you
DOM.
see it's there? I'm looking.
Oh my god, you're right. I totally forgot this was a thing. This is, by the way, Elliot, instead of being self-deprecated or self-deprecating about TypeScript, which for the record, Elliot, I meant that gift as a sign of friendship, not as a sign of you don't know things. But if you want me to insult you, I can. Fine. But yeah, so frameworks like Astro, I'm now realizing, remembering, are I think based off of the Shadow DOM concept of a slot, where like a slot is where you would put your children, right?
Yeah. I think Vue uses something like this too, because they always like yapping about slots and stuff.
Always. Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, they do. Extends HTML elements. And then it has all these attributes. You can listen to events with slots. Interesting. But why would I want to use a slot though?
Let me just type in the chat. HTML slot. Yeah, so like this is the reason why I understand that this exists is so that in like web components, like native HTML components, you have like a delineated way that the children of a component go to, because you don't have like the wild wacky world you do in like solid React View and so on. And now because there's a native
Yeah,
like
okay.
web
Okay.
component thing for them, a lot of component frameworks like Vue and Astro are
Mm-hmm.
built on that concept. Question mark.
Ah, makes sense. Question mark. Question mark. And okay. Well, this was okay. This looks good.
Okay.
lib.dom.d.ts.
Yes. So yeah, fun fact for y'all who haven't had the pleasure of looking at native types or DOM types in TypeScript, each version of TypeScript ships with a few DTS files that declare the types for different built-ins. One of those is lib.dom.dts for the DOM, and it declares all the types for like browsers and similar based off the W3C spec. It's like literally built off of, I always forget if it's like the MDN API or like the W3C or whatever, but like this is auto-generated code all here. And it's 10,000 lines,
That is crazy.
20,000, almost 30,000.
28,000. Damn.
Yeah. Browsers. Simple.
Hey, good.
Okay. Well, anyway, so I forget how we got onto that, but yes, that's how. Oh yeah, the SVG stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
So setting the attribute on like a HTML element, like there are different like weird rules around the namings compared to
Yeah.
SVG elements. Cool. Oh no, is my screen frozen? Let me just check OBS real quick. Oh shit, I think my screen just froze right now. Haha, caught it. It's been, sometimes it freezes and then I don't catch it for a very long time, which is very, very Hang on a second. Thanks, learner.
Let me plug this guy real quick.
We're fixed. We're back. Okay. Cool. So I feel like I understand well the mounting process. So just to recap, when we mount an element, what we do is we get the corresponding child nodes of it, whether they're blocks or text or whatever. We then get the elements for those, and then the corresponding edits. For each element's edits, for each of those edits, we then do an action, where those actions can be a child edit, an event listener, an attribute, or a style attribute. And then for each of those, we have a little strategy. Like if it's a child, we mount the child and so on. Sorry, please go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I think this is the part where we do static analysis from the block dump, from the block dump rather. And then we can easily track, okay, the parts that are dynamic, and then just record them directly into the edits map.
Cool. Awesome. Where do you want to go next?
So I have like this. Is that all for the block, or the dirty checking parts? Or is not going to?
Well,
that's
there
one
should be
a part where we do dirty checking.
There's also P, which is, what is P again? Patch. So I think patch is the update thing that like edits.
Yeah, that makes the updates, yeah. Directly to the block dump.
Okay.
And then, so we went through the block. So this was super fun.
Well, thanks for heading out. Well, thanks for hanging out, Elian. Have fun.
Oh, Elian is leaving?
Yeah.
So much for Elian.
Forever. Never to come back.
Oh, all right, Elian, bye. Bye, Elian.
Cool. So when we patch, we're going over each of the elements. For each element, for each corresponding element, and then we do a different patch based on what kind of edits there is, or for each corresponding edit, we do a different patch based on what kind of edit there is. So, like if it's an event, we call the corresponding, or we call the registered event function. It's like back in mounts.
Also, I was going to ask, what does register? I think, is it TypeScript thing? I saw register somewhere. Types maybe?
I don't follow. Can you elaborate?
Yeah, I saw something like register. I'm trying to see where I saw it from. It's like types.ts. Looking. Can't believe I just saw it right now. Register. Let me see. Maybe I was looking at something else because one I saw register like as a type inference thing or something like that, as a type. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe when I see it again.
Thanks for hanging out, Bumblebee.
I just searched the code base. Thank you, Bumblebee. Thanks for hanging out.
Cool.
All right. So yeah, you were saying. Sorry for cutting.
Oh no, not at all. I have a tendency to just barrel through, so please, you and anyone in the chat, interrupt me as much as possible. All right, so
sure.
What I see back in mount, which is on the left split, I'm looking at the event thingy. The patch is create event listener, and I see element of event patch plus edit.n. And then in the patch, we call that with the new value. So this create event listener is the function that creates the function that then gets called, this patch function. So this is what gets called both on mount and then on patch.
Yes.
Does that sound right to you?
And patch is when we are making those. Yeah, patch is when we're making those direct DOM updates.
Yeah. So like if there's no value, we set the element of key to null. But if there is a value and it doesn't yet, it's not yet the existing value, then we set it on the element. If there's no value, we clear the element property under the key. If there is a value and it's not the existing one, we set L key. What I'm wondering is, what is this? All right. So there's just this. But what is this key?
Somebody put a link there, or was that you?
Yeah, this was. So create event listener uses a synthetic event handler to capture events. So if we don't, if the event isn't yet registered as a is the phrase synthetic event listener something, or synthetic event handler something you've played with before?
No, actually, I don't know what a synthetic event handler or listener is.
Let's talk about it. So,
give me a minute. Let me go pee real quick.
Oh, sure. We'll take an ad break.
All right.
Where's my stream manager? There it is. Ad break for 1 minute. Unless you're subscribed, in which case I think you don't see the ads. I'm actually not sure. Yep. That was fast. Cool.
That's a run.
Awesome. All right. So, yeah.
right.
You want to talk about synthetic event handlers?
Yes, definitely.
Cool. Love this. Sorry, we have something in my eye. Also, we've been streaming for 2 hours, and I'm still feeling good. But
sorry.
whenever you want to stop, let me know, and I'm happy to call it quits. So
I'm still here.
Okay. I'm gonna make a elements temp ts. Like, let's say you have a div, which is like an HTML div element. You can do like div.add event listener, click, whatever console.
Yeah, makes sense.
Was clicked. And let's say that you're writing a framework like React or like a thing around it like Million. Good night, learner. Have a good time. Have a good night. Hope you sleep well. Having a million divs and then like 4 const div of divs. If you have like a bunch of divs and then giving each of them a click handler, that's a lot of click handlers. So what a lot of frameworks will do is they'll register a single event handler on the root node, the one that they know is the parent of everything. So instead of this,
okay.
So they'll just know they have a root HTML element, and then they'll say root.add event listener, click, const target equals event.target, or something like that. So then you have a single event listener, and then let's say you have like a const handlers, which like maps from like, I don't know, like an HTML element to like, I don't know, just like a function that runs. So you'll do like handlers.get targets will be called. So, oh boy, what is event target? There we go. Event target is one of those interfaces that element extends from. So this means that you have a single click handler that then maps to the corresponding handlers for each of your elements. And if your element, the target, had a handler, this is an oversimplification because there is bubbling where like we try the elements in the chain and so on.
Yeah, propagation and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
that makes sense.
Awesome. Yeah. So
Interesting.
that's it. That's synthetic events. Everything in React is a synthetic event, which means that.
So
Oh, please.
yeah, no. You are. I want you to continue that point, but what does the map do?
Oh, this says for each keys are elements, um, values are the corresponding click handler, or yeah, let's say that's called click handlers, click handler for that element. Does that make sense?
Oh, so I'm guessing event targets are the elements, and then the function that is being called, which is the function is the value for the click handlers,
Mm-hmm.
but it doesn't return anything, so it's like void and stuff. Ah, because we're dealing with an array of like elements or DOM elements or whatever, and each one of them are event targets. As event targets. Okay, event targets there. Okay, or no? Yeah.
Yeah.
Current as elements. Yeah. Okay. I think the type actually even explains the code. Like writing the type just like tells a story about what the code is doing.
Yes. Good types do. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to answer the chat, like a dictionary of key value pairs. Yes. Also, I might have misinterpreted your good night, folks messages. Glad you're still here, learning. Yeah, so like map is a dictionary saying like for each whatever key we might have a corresponding value. So like for each, let's say, event target or element, we then might have like a corresponding handler, let's say. Or like here would be like the event is HTML click HTML mouse event, click events, mouse event, events. And then also I should say like if event.propagation was called, then we break. Let's just pretend this exists to simplify. Does this
This is
make
a thing.
sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Cool.
It makes sense.
Awesome. So yeah.
Nice. Okay, I learned something new now.
Yay. That makes me glad. Yeah. So what we're doing here is I think this is setting up the event listeners, where for when we create an event listener, we check if we don't yet have one. So like click handlers here is like document events registry. Okay, it's a set, map set, whatever the storage is. We then create the add event listener so we call document.addEventListener, where I don't know why we're bubbling up the DOM tree to find all of them, but I don't think we need to go too deep into this because this is like weird DOM API shenanigans. But basically, at the end of the day, it's setting up an event listener.
That makes sense. Makes sense actually.
Cool.
So yeah, we're going through the key. Yes, we're going through the key and the patch functions just to see how we're making the DOM updates based on what changes were being recorded into the edit map, either an event or a string being changed as a child, or maybe we change a style attribute or something like that. Yeah, that was what we were going through, and that brought us to patch and key.
Yes. So on the left is M, and on the right is P for patch. So yeah, if it was an event function, we call it directly. If it's a child, If it's a block, we patch the old value with the new one. So like we recurse down onto it. Also, this is a typo. Correspondent. Chorus.
Correspondent.
Okay.
Good first issue.
Yeah, but actually, one thing y'all might enjoy. Have you looked into using a spell checker like C-spell in your source code?
No, actually, I haven't done used that before.
Oh man, welcome to my
C-spell.
my life. So yeah, I use one called C-spell where you can define like you extend from a core dictionary like TypeScript or something what your ignore paths are and any custom words, and then it'll let you know if there's any word in your code that isn't in that dictionary. So like if I were to misspell greet as like I don't know like Gret options or something, I think that's a typo. It'll give me
Great.
it would parse it out. It would
Yeah.
understand Pascal and camel case, and it'd say unknown word. That's why I've been getting little blue squigglies.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Wow. That is crazy.
Yeah, I'd say half the time it's a false
C-spell.
positive, half
I'm
the time
definitely going
it's
to check
useful. Cool.
it out.
I'll just post it in the chat. cspell.org.
Yeah.
Awesome. We'll tell you what. I feel good. I feel like we've seen a pretty good amount of stuff. We've generally understood how mounting works and how patching works. In mounting, we see like it's an array of edits per child. In patching, we call those edits. I think this is a good stopping point.
Yeah.
Because also I'm getting tired and it's nearing lunchtime. But is there anything else you wanted to cover or go over?
Okay. I think that was pretty much it because we actually did a lot in this stream that I think maybe this is a preparation for my talks in the future. I'm definitely going to be using this because we went through things like static analysis and how the blockchain works, and then we came to the code implementations to see how that works. I learned things like having to see a synthetic event and synthetic handlers and stuff. And I also saw tags. I think tags. That's the other terrible name for it. Discriminatory union. Yeah, and then stuff around that. And then we saw the million props which is just a very weird a weird type by the way. And yeah, you outlined a couple of issues that you said we were going to raise or something and stuff like that. So I
Cool.
think yeah, this you're actually right. This is a we definitely went through a lot of stuff. Definitely went through a lot of stuff. The other thing is just the four components that Million uses for optimized list rendering. But yeah, that's another thing. But yeah, this is actually a good stopping point. Yeah, and we've talked about the core functionality of how Million works, which is just block.
Cool. This makes me happy. The yeah, no, that I think that's a great summary, and I'm excited that we went over it. I'll leave a. We should wait a couple minutes if our viewers has any questions. The last thing I wanted to ask while anyone's typing stuff out, or suggesting a channel to raid, I always try to raid at the end, someone else to send everyone to, is I see in your package JSON TypeScript ESLint is still on version 5. Fun fact, we've released a new major version, v6. So just a heads up, you might want to update that. We have a lot of good rules in there in v6.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, this is a potential issue that I'm currently working on. So now just PM update or at latest or something, and
Cool.
then I'll get that in.
Yay. Thanks.
Yeah.
I've actually never seen a project
But
in a
then
while
there were
Oh, sorry, please.
oh sorry, you brought out an issue with the brought up an issue rather with the what's it called? The contribution guideline. So I definitely noted
Oh,
that down. I think that was an issue with the EMV or something
yes. There were, I think, 2
and live
issues.
blocks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I saw
EMV
a.
example not being there. There was no
Yes, there's
there was
no
no
M
EMV there
example.
example.
And then it would be nice to have like a local dev, website dev to not use the live blocks key. There are a couple lint complaints locally,
Okay.
which I can just send as a PR, since I already have them. And then also,
Yeah.
root
Yeah.
level pm run dev doesn't exist. It's like it says
Doesn't
under.
exist. Yeah, it doesn't.
Oh, it says under the packages folder
Yeah,
to
you have
do
to
that.
CD.
You did tell me that,
Yeah.
and then I didn't listen, and then look where it got me. Oh wait, no, it still
Does
doesn't
it actually
exist.
work there? It doesn't work there. It works in the website, so I think that's an issue we need to remove. Yeah, it
Okay,
doesn't work. Package
cool,
level doesn't work. Yeah.
cool, awesome. Well, we've got
Good
nothing
stopping
else.
point. Yeah, we actually achieved a lot.
Yeah, we got no questions from the chat, so I feel good about this. Let's find someone to raid. But yeah, Toby, one last thing. If people wanted to find you on the internet and perhaps send you some good cheer, or ask you questions, what would your advice be to those people? And any links?
Uh yeah, advice or yeah, if you want to find me, you can just check me out on Twitter, and that's at Toby Solutions. I don't know if I'm supposed to paste the link or something. At yeah, Toby Solutions on Twitter, and then oh, that was yeah that one, and then you can check me out on LinkedIn, or just go to my bio drop. It's this open source project where you see my bio drop. Yeah, so it's like my portfolio, so you can just find all my links there.
Cool.
My own place and stuff like that. So and yeah, definitely. So I'm mostly on GitHub, on Discord, in the Million Discord, and yeah, I think those are the places I'm active on. Yeah, on Twitter.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Cool. Well, thank you for
yeah,
hanging out, man. I really appreciate it. This was a lot of fun. And in the
yeah. I'm excited. I was actually this was very helpful to me because I'm definitely going to be giving a lot of talks this year. With Million, I'll be submitting a lot of CFPs. Maybe I might be coming to you at times for
Ooh,
help with like s- structuring my CFPs and stuff because this year I want to speak at more events and I want to do stuff. It's one of my things that I have for this year and stuff like that. So I'm definitely going to be yeah coming to you for help. I
awesome.
think that's what I wanted to say.
Do it. Yeah, that'd be great. You especially, but also anyone who wants help
Yeah.
with things. Always happy to advise for CFPs. Awesome.
All right. Awesome.
There's
Yeah.
no
So
one I follow
that's
who's streaming.
I think that's all for mine.
Awesome. Well, let's go find someone who's streaming about
Mm.
TypeScript who isn't someone with 1,800 viewers. Preferably someone who's speaking in English. So let's go raid Spit. I have no idea who this is. I can't vouch for them positively or negatively, but let's go ahead and raid.
Rate them. How does the rate thing work though?
I'm not 100% on that myself. So I believe it's that it sends everyone over um, to their channel, and if you then join my channel while the raid is active, you're actually watching them. But then I always immediately stop streaming
Oh,
afterwards. So I don't know. I think it just sends people over.
so you don't know what exactly happens.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, makes sense.
Cool. And rating. Cool. And I'm going to stop the
Bye, everyone.
stream.